He was born in Cartagena on June 1, 1851. Second son of the marriage formed by Juan Manuel Peral Torres, who was then the first constable of the Army Artillery Corps, and Isabel Caballero Diaz. His father was a native of San Fernando, Cádiz, and his mother from Cartagena like him. His paternal grandfather, Pedro Peral, was also a sailor. Isaac Peral, second son of Juan Manuel, obtained the grace of a Marine aspirant, with the use of a uniform and option for a position at the Naval Military College, at the age of 9. On July 1, 1865, he entered the aforementioned college at the age of 14 after passing the corresponding exams, with the position number 10 of a class of 23. On December 26, 1866, he received the appointment of second-class midshipman and his first assignment, the corvette Villa de Bilbao. In 1867, at just 16 years old, he was assigned to the URCA Santa Maria sailing ship, in which he had to face a real test of fire, the trip from Cádiz to Manila, passing through the Cape of Good Hope. The commander of the ship in his report states the following: "This midshipman is of bright hope, because to an unusual disposition he unites very great application and great love for the career. He has obtained great advantage in the campaign that the ship has done with the voyage to Philippines. In the next 20 years he will cross the Mediterranean, the Atlantic and the Pacific several times. He will intervene in 2 wars, the 10-year War in Cuba and the Third Carlist War, proving his value, and was rewarded with the first-class Naval Merit Cross with a red badge." Finally, a period of relative calm came. The Cuban insurrection and the Carlist War were put down. At this time Peral is assigned as a professor of midshipmen on the White Frigate. On July 5, 1876, he applied for admission to the Academy for the extension of studies of the Navy. After the mandatory examination, he entered on January 1, 1877. On April 20 of this year he married Maria del Carmen Sencillo Rodriguez, daughter of the Navy doctor Antonio Sencillo Romero. He finished his studies in 1880, with excellent final grades and causing the admiration of his teachers, who would not take long to claim him to join the cloister. He is again assigned to the Philippines, to the Hydrographic Commission, in which he will be dedicated to raising the navigation charts that facilitate the same in those seas and coasts. On July 21, he was promoted to second-class lieutenant of the ship and took command of the Cavitano gunboat. He became ill and had to return to the peninsula. Returned to San Fernando, after being quarantined in Marne, and without being fully restored, the director of the observatory and the Expansion Academy, captain of the ship Pujason, asks him to take over the chairs of physics, chemistry and alamorn, and on January 1, 1883 he received the final appointment. Apart from the Navy, his other great love was scientific studies, and he made his professional obligations compatible with him, dedicating many hours of his theoretical rest and leisure. As a result of these musings and calculations, the idea of solving the arduous problem of underwater navigation came to light in 1884. The only person to whom he communicated it was his wife Carmen, who suddenly had the feeling that it would not bring anything good, so he asked her not to communicate it to anyone else. He managed to persuade him of it, at least for some time. The situation changed suddenly, when a confrontation with Germany for the possession of the archipelago of Las Carolinas threatened to lead Spain to war against that powerful country. Tension grew between the two nations during the months of August and September 1885. The inventor, a military man above all, felt that it was his inexcusable duty, due to the gravity of the moment, to inform his superiors that he had invented the submarine, and he offered it to his homeland for its best defense. In August 1885, in the middle of the pre-war crisis, he communicated his invention to his superiors, Pujason and Viniegra, directors respectively of the Astronomical Observatory and the School of Expansion. Pujason replies that by telling a person whom he holds in great consideration, he believes him. Coming from another, I would have thought it was crazy. A meeting with the most qualified people from both institutions was urgently appointed for Peral to defend his invention in a contradictory trial. He was successful in the test and convinced his superiors of the veracity of his offer, and they begged him to communicate it immediately to the then Minister of the Navy, Manuel de la Pezuela, and he did so. On September 9, 1885, he sent the letter to him, and the minister, after gathering information from his superiors, welcomed the project with great interest, issuing several orders for some preliminary tests to be carried out and declaring the matter a top military secret. Luck, however, changed very soon for the inventor, since with the death of Alfonso XII the government was replaced, which implied a change in the Navy's portfolio. General Pezuela was replaced by another general, but of a very different disposition, Vice Admiral Beranger, an intriguing chieftain well connected with the British Industrial Trust. The elements that allowed him to carry out all these characteristic actions typical of a submarine were the following: 2 electric motors for propulsion of 30 horsepower each, designed by the inventor himself. Batteries with 613 accumulators, 480 for propulsion and the rest for supplying energy to the rest of the submarine's devices, of the Julian type ordered from the Brussels manufacturer L'Electrique, from which it ordered certain medications in the alloy of the plates, intended to supply the power of the propulsion motors, the stability servo motor, the pump and the lighting. He also devised a new box to improve the insulation of the batteries, using ebonite, solution that was revealed as suitable and was imitated by other manufacturers such as Tudor. Periscope with rangefinder and sighting device. Compensated needle for the steering of the ship, with a special bronze box. Also for the government, he designed an electric gyroscope, the first in history an electric log system that has continued to be used in all submarines to estimate the speed of the ship in immersion, commissioned from Dolland & Co. An air regeneration system using a purifier that used soda hydrate and quicklime to absorb carbon dioxide. The oxygen consumed was renewed by another stored in bottles. It is the same system used today. A torpedo tube coupled inside the submarine with a specific system to be able to be fired under the sea without the water entering inside, and a compensation system to avoid disturbances caused by the maneuver. Many of these elements were inventions of their own, assuming that batteries and electric motors, for example, were substantially modified by the inventor in order to meet the enormous challenge posed by submerged navigation of an engine. About 90 tons. Both batteries and motors were revolutionary for the time. Other elements were original from Peral, but his greatest achievement is the whole. That is, the revolutionary ship that forever changed the concept of naval warfare, the submarine. For all this, the Dean of Spanish Engineers and future Nobel laureate, Don José de Echegaray, a contemporary of Peral, described his invention as the most complex and complete of those known to date. The extraordinary thing about Isaac Peral's invention is that all these elements, perfected of course, have practically survived to this day. The characteristics of the submarine were as follows: displacement 77 t and 85 t, immersed length 22.00 meters, beam 2.87 meters, depth 2.76 meters, 450 millimeters, torpedo tube, armed with 3 Schwarzkopf torpedoes, power 60 CV, speed 10 knots on the surface and 8 in immersion, radius of action of 355 miles on the surface and 326 in immersion, crew 12 men. After the rejection of the Navy and the government, the inventor moved to Madrid, as soon as he obtained the license, and created the first important electrical industry in the world. He set up the first accumulator factory for industrial use in the world in Madrid, and several companies scattered throughout the national geography to electrify municipalities, companies and facilities of all kinds. In addition, he set up the first power plants in Spain. Only for these facts would he deserve universal recognition, as he was a pioneer of the Second Industrial Revolution. His health deteriorated very quickly, and from 1891 to 1895 he underwent 4 serious surgical operations, not being able to survive the postoperative period of the last one, which was practiced in Berlin, when he was about to turn 44 years old. His work, in electrical matters, was continued, to a large extent, by the Belgian engineer Tudor. And, precisely with the Tudor batteries, the submarine sailed again.